Hello everybody, when it comes to protecting animals, what would you usually do? Would you either choose the option of animal rights or would you consider the option of wildlife conservation? Yes, both of these options can protect animals to a certain extent, but however, they were invented by different people and for two totally different purposes. Now, and here we are going to explain in the following video, and please stay tuned because at the end of it there would be some bonus information. Now, first of all, why were animal rights invented? Because they were invented to give animals the same human treatment and protection from abuse and exploitation that are according to humans. It deals with the rights of the individual, so it was invented for a reason that is really similar to human rights. So, on the other hand, the concept of wildlife conservation was invented to protect life forms on a collective scale. It aims to ensure the survival of a species or an ecosystem. It has more to do with the environment and environmental problems, and almost nothing to do with the individual rights. Now, animal rights were invented based on some humane reasons, but wildlife conservation isn't. So, laws about animal rights can be used to protect both domesticated animals like dogs and horses, and also wild animals like elephants and tortoises, while it aims to protect animals from being treated horrifically by humans. On the other hand, in some situations, wildlife conservationists would plan to kill off an invasive species that is destructive to a particular region, where invasive species refers to a non-native species that are being brought to a particular region by humans, and they became destructive to the native ecosystem. Where all invasive species are within the category of foreign species, where examples of them include the cane toads in Australia, the fire ants in North America, and most famously the pharaoh goats in the Galapagos Islands. An extensive example of people trying to wipe out an invasive species is the war on goats, which happened in the Galapagos Islands. Goats were first introduced to the Galapagos Islands by sailors during the 18th century. Until back in the 1960s to 1990s, people started to realize that these invasive animals destroyed a large amount of native vegetation on the islands. This intense competition resulted in a sharp decline on the population of the native tortoises, causing them to become critically endangered. So in the year 1995, the local government decided to wage war on the goats. The operation was known as Project Isabella. The project utilizes techniques like Air Force techniques and spy techniques. And finally in the year 2006, all the goats on the Galapagos Islands were eliminated, and the population of the native tortoises started to increase again. And this was not unique to the Galapagos Islands. Similar operations also happened in various parts of the world, eliminating species that people believed that they shouldn't belong there. These environmental actions were often being protested and criticized by people who care about animal rights because they seemed to be too brutal and inhumane for animals. Another major difference between them is that animal rights cannot be applied on life forms that are too distantly related to humans, because it aims to give animals the same humane treatment that are according to humans. Where historically speaking, animal rights has never been applied on things like earthworm, jellyfish, and insects, because they're biologically too different to humans, making it really difficult for people to treat them humanely. Unlike animal rights, wildlife conservation can also be applied on other life forms like plants and funguses. And in fact, some endangered plant species such as the Scalacia from the Galapagos Island and the Wollemi tree from Australia are being protected by some type of wildlife conservation. And also, this concept can be applied on entire ecosystems, just like the redwood forest in California. And this is done in many developed countries. A point that we should not forget is that both these concepts can be applied under some specific conditions, but they still operate independent of each other. For example, if an endangered species of parrot was being captured by environmentalists for further breeding and repopulation programs, then in the first place, wildlife conservation principles are being applied. Because the basic objective of this action is to repopulate a threatened species. At the same time, some local animal rights activists may want to apply concepts like providing them enough living space and preventing them from getting injured seriously. Even when there are some laws or rules about animal rights are being applied in this situation, they still have got nothing to do with the environment. They are there to keep the captive animals in good conditions, not the entire ecosystem. Now it's time for some bonus information. Alright? Just imagine if you're in a situation where you have to vote for a government to either spend more effort on wildlife conservation or spend more effort on the animal rights. Which one would you choose? And remember, in this case is where you can only vote for one of them. You cannot do both. So which one do you think is more important to you? So please tell us in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. This has been a brief introduction telling you the difference between animal rights and wildlife conservation. Hello everybody. When it comes to protecting animals, what would you usually think of? Would you either consider the option of animal rights or would you choose the option of wildlife conservation? Yes, both of these can protect animals to a certain extent. But however, these two inventions were